Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in and check out your boy. P-Funk thinking right out here with nothing on but the pyramids in my hat. Doing what I do for you. I got a nice little lesson for you. This is just getting gooder, as my pastor would say. To me, why? I'm enjoying what I'm doing for you. Let's go. Hope you're enjoying it too. Let's do this. Radism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. The message is in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in and receive them. Hope it's working out for you. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right Thinking Mission. Yeah, I'm on it. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking is way of life. If you adopt it, you'll like it. Through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is for you to do just that. As a right thinker, you should know thyself. And that's my mission, that all right thinkers do just that. So let's do it. Know thyself is the question that I asked, rhetorical. But if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you out with that. That's what I do for you. Help you know you. A person who knows not, a lot of that going on, and knows that they know not is foolish. Avoid them. No, excuse me, disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got you. A person who knows not and believe and think they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. That's okay. What? I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right there. Know thyself. And to Maya, be true. Let's talk about the principle of duality. That's your girl, right, Maya? But you can also talk a little bit about the Trinity of Creation. So we're gonna do. Oh man, I hate when my eyes get like that. Eyelashes in my eyes. Okay, excuse me. Right thinkers. Let's talk about the principle of duality and the Trinity of Creation explained. Break it down for you. How about that? You know how I do for you. All right. Let me read this to you. And this is important. This Heka means words of power. Okay, you speak things into existence. And it also relates to what? The nature of time and space. Now, as we discussed earlier in other lessons, commentary 7, times and space is what? Not real. We ain't arguing that, we're going to that. Watch this. Now, there are, in reality, what are they? Projections of what? The mind in and through the what? Trinity, which is a metaphor to what? Explain what I'm doing, the triad of the consciousness as previously discussed. I gave you the breakdown, the conscious, unconscious, the waking. Okay, we're gonna get to that, but you got that part, so we're moving on. Okay, I'm giving you the next part to that. However, listen, it must be clearly understood that the entire creation, that is every element of the triad of the seer, who is what? Amun, the hidden one. Amen. To seen. They say in Patah, they break it down a little different. I don't want to go with that, but seeing is Patah. That's the physical part. You and into creation, the physical aspect in the body. But they say, and the sight and mind represents Ra. Excuse me. Unseen, Ra, seen, Ta, physical. That's but we're gonna break it down a little different. So I'm gonna do it their way. All right. So Ra and watch this. All these are in reality what? Projections of what? Emanations of who? The transcendental self, aka we call it Naberja. That's the all conscious one, the all encompassing one. He has everything in himself, and everything comes out of him. Hence, emanations. Okay. This projection, watch this, is what at all times existing and what supported by what? The self. It has what? No independent reality or existence. I mean, it's just there. Watch this. Just as the projection of what? A dream world in the human mind is supported by what? The individual. Every individual in their mind, when they go to the dream world, it's about them. God does the whole thing in creation. Understand the same concept. We just a little part of it. He's the whole part. Okay? Hope you understand that. So watch this. Now, the projection of the universe is from God and is supported by who? The cosmic mind of God. Just like you support, every individual supports his own dream. I can dream about my mother, my father, my sister, brother, but I'm the focal point of the dream. Why? I'm the one that's making it happen. You get the concept? Everything in God's dream is part of God, is of God. I'm driving that point home so you don't misunderstand and misinterpret it. You can't get that part wrong or everything else won't work. Thus, watch this. The world, again, expresses as a triad, meaning the self, which is the hidden one, the spirit, or we call it the spirit mind. Spirit comes consciously of a mind and what creates creation, which is a product of what? The underlying principle of really duality, which is the self and then creation. And then it brings on the multiplicity of what? Objects, things, okay? But the principle of duality is the self and then creation. We are part of what? The creation. But the self is also part of the creation. Get it? Now, the Trinity of Creation is what? There we go. The self, all-encompassing one, that never by itself there, thinks of something, comes into mind, okay? The thought. And now, the creation is what? The physical aspect of it. Now, that's how it's broken down right here. I'm going to give you a little quick breakdown so you can see it. See the triangle there? See the top where it says the self and creation? That's the principle of duality. That's first. And then you got the Trinity of Creation. Let's go. Hope you get the concept. But I get that, if I ever get that, my blue, like with that green screen I got right here, if I ever get that thing going, boy, I'd be a bad man. All right. I work what I got right now. Moving on. Now, you got the self is really what? Divine consciousness. Understand it. Divine means what? Good, perfect, right? Okay? That's what divine means. So the conscious is all perfect, all knowing, the absolute, whatever you want to call it. But let's get understanding about that so we can move on. Now, since divine consciousness, which is what? Divine what? Will. That's the aspect. Originates where? In the transcendental realms, the higher self, aka heaven, or the invisible part, which is Amun. What happens? It's symbolized by thieves. It is transmitted through what? The bright intellect, the light of consciousness, Ra, the sun, is symbolized by Anu, first time. That's first place, because let there be, that was the sun. And then, watch this. It is transmitted through the faculty of what? Mental thought, symbolized by who? My man, Tahuti, to the mind and the senses and the body is Pata, the physical part in the flesh. That's us. Now, any questions or conflicts are to be what? Resolved, and they spell it MENAB, MENAB, but spell it MENAB, excuse me, meaning in the heart of hearts. Remember, the conscious mind is in the heart. That's because God, that's where God dwells in his creation, which is man, not in the mind. The mind is yours. The human part of you is your conscious, your mind. He gave you that. Why? That's called free will. Everybody has that. But the heart conscious, it belongs to him. That's why it's way at judgment time. Hope you get the concept. Now, watch this. Any questions or conflicts are to be done by what? The heart of hearts. At the end, this is where it all going to be taken care of. Now, moving on. Watch this. The soul is symbolized by thieves, where Amun, the hidden one, hidden essence, resides. Not in the mind, I just told you that, which is what? Governed by the senses, the body. And it's ignorant. It had to be educated, it had to be enlightened. Therein lies spiritual enlightenment. I'm giving you God knowledge. That's what you need to be conscious of yourself. I'm doing all right. Should be freaking out, but I'm good. I'm, oh man, I'm getting a little hot. I'm sweating up at this piece now. All right, break it down. Now, watch this. So, from a firm heart results in men-ab, meaning you're thinking, you're feeling, and you're in line. You are in harmony with oneself. That means you and God is functioning as one. God is in the heart. You are the mind. Marry your heart and mind. I keep telling you, heart, mind, coherence. Calm down. I get excited because I get this point. Hope I make the point clear to you. Hope you're getting it. When the mind, which is man, human part, connects with the spirit, which is in the heart, they work as one. They become harmonized. I'm gonna read a section down here. It's gonna sound familiar to you. So let me get back to the lesson. I love this part because if you don't understand, you and God are one consciously, metaphysically, no, spiritually. Why? That's God is spirit. That's life that's in us. You got to know that. Hence, know thyself. Trying to work it in. Trying to get this thing out. Let me move now. Where we at? Da-da-da-da. Now, in other words, watch this. Now, this is true in human consciousness of what every individual human being, as well as what the cosmos or cosmic self, as above, so below, conceptually. In other words, the same spirit that underlies what the human being that's in us is what the same spirit which underlies what the entire universe. That's what we need to understand. Every human being has what? Three subjects or identifications. Go through them right quick. While awake, you identify with the me, the I, in day-to-day subject, or the person who you think you are, including what? The memories of your present lifetime. You live in the wake up every day, you live in this wake state. But watch this. When you go to sleep and you're having a dream, your identity of who you was in the waking state is gone. Now you identify with your sleep subject or your personality or what who is having the experience in your dream. You don't question who you are in the dream. It's just a known fact that this is you. Just like you don't question yourself in the waking state. So it's all going on within yourself. So just remember, understand that. While in the dreamless state, that's where you go and you don't remember, oh, I slept good, but I don't remember. Yeah, it ain't for you to remember. Why? Because until you get conscious of your higher thinking power to be a lucid dreamer, that level is off limits to you. Okay, the ignorant can't function up there. Why? They don't know nothing. That's why. It's all mental. So watch this. While you in the dreamless sleep state, you identify with what? The absence of all subjects, body, physical senses. There's nothing. But yet there is what? Existence, but not of awareness. You are blanketed by dullness. What was that? We met Hotep Ab. It means nothingness. Excuse me. It means nothing. Existence. There is existence in this state. Why? Because you wake up. When you wake up from that state, you remember what? That you experience deep, good rest. Man, I was mad. And you have no specific memory of it as a dream. That's because it went to the next level. Like Haru, represented by the falcon. When a blackbird jump on the falcon's back, he don't fight, he don't squawk, he just elevates. He just go higher. Why? Because the blackbird can't handle it. When you go up to people in the elevator, mentally, some people only go up to a certain floor. When you get past the level of understanding and knowledge, you have to realize, okay, leave them alone. Why? They can't raise the conscious level. You can't raise the level you don't have. So that's why that state is off limits. But watch this. Where we at? Now, why in the dreamless state, okay, yeah, now watch this. Pata represents walking the physical subject, us in the flesh. That conscious, the mind, works with what? The senses, the body, the physical part. Okay? Ta, he uttered himself into existence. Words of power. And he became. That's the concept from that view. Ra, which is what? At this point, you're using it as intellect and dream subject, the subtle senses, meaning the next level up from the physical part, they call that the heaven, the casual, or the astral plane. That's where the spirit and the mental is in together. Okay? They still together. Now, then you got Amen. Witnesses of what? He's a witness in the sleep subject. He's the one that you want to get to. That's where we all want to end up. That's why you don't go there until what? You reach that level. And Panetta, which is the Nabercha, which represents pure consciousness, we know him as the absolute self. Okay? Moving on. I'm about to wrap it up. Got another page for you. But watch this. Now we talk of spirit and consciousness. The spirit expresses as what? The waking subject. Right now. The dream subject is what? The sleep subject when your mind goes to sleep. Therefore, what? The spirit, when involved with subjectivity, subjectivity manifests as what? The different at different levels of awareness or consciousness. However, when not involved with subjectivity, the spirit is what? Free from all associations with the personality or the ego self. Trust me. Waking, dream, and sleep. So, from another perspective, let's look at this. The same spirit in you, the pure self, Parnetta, Nabercha, he's in there. Watch this. But is devoid of what? He's devoid of all subjectivity, expresses as the witnessing and the sleep consciousness, Amun, the dream consciousness, which is Ra, and the waking, which is the physical part, consciousness, Pata. They all are still from the one. Here we go. I'm about to take it home. Yeah, we got a little time. Now, this teaching also relates to what? The kind of experience which human beings have dependent on the manner in which consciousness is expressing itself. Watch this. In this respect, there are three modes of experience. Again, let me go to three. The waking state, the dream state, and the sleep state again. Now, in each of these, the one spirit identifies itself in different subjects. I was one, and I became three. And all those are still inside me. The waking subject expresses what? Gross physical objects, which in the flesh, with the conscious mind of his own, and the senses of the physical body. Why? We can see, we can smell, we can see the five senses: smell, sight, hearing, touching, and tasting. And that's in the physical body. The dream subject, watch this. Now, the next level up, that's the physical world, that's the top. Okay? Then you got the next level up, which is the dream astral plane, astral level, which the dream subject experiences what? A subtle mental world of thoughts. It's pure thoughts in the astral plane. You got ideas, imagination, etc. Got it? Now, with the mind and subtle senses, the body, the senses and the sense organs are what? Distinct operations. This is why there can be what? Experiences where in the dream world there is no outward sign in the physical body when a person is asleep. It's all internal. The subtle senses, because the body's at rest, you don't need none of that, so it's all up here. Subtle meaning next level up mentally. The subtle senses are what? Are used in the dream instead of what? The gross senses organs. In actuality, the senses organs are what? An emanation of the senses, and the senses are what? Emanations of the mind, and the mind is an emanation of what? Consciousness. It's like a little maze there. Thus, watch this. The mind, the physical objects of creation, as well as the senses which are used to perceive those objects, and the subject who is said to what? Experience them are all what? Emanations from the one pure and undifferentiated consciousness, God. He's ever present, but you got control. Okay, he's in the car. You doing driving. You are in total control. Okay, and when you get better at recognizing him in you, you get closer to him, and y'all be part of the decision making. Let your conscience be your guide. Moving on. I thought it was in here somewhere where the God tells you, still yourself and know that I am. I am. But that's another lesson. I thought it was in this one. Sorry about that. All right, let me get this thing going. I'm about to wrap it up. This wisdom. Okay. This wisdom leads to what? The understanding that the multiplicity of creation, we realize what it is, the triad of consciousness, we understand that, is what? In reality, one all-encompassing existence, non-dual, and in fact devoid of what? Subjectivity and differentiation. The witnessing subject, which is Amun, the dreamless sleep state, experience, what's this? The subtlest form of awareness in the form of what? Intuition and insight, which what transcends the mind and the intellect. You become smarter, you become understanding of who you are. These states have what? Positive and negative aspects. Again, balance. In your own life, you are most familiar with what? The waking subject and the gratification that comes from what? Getting, contracting physical objects of your desire. That's the ego being fulfilled. When you get the stuff you want, you happy, you feel good. Well, now watch this. This is the negative aspect of the waking subject. The positive aspect, that's the negative part when you're happy because you get what you want. That's the negative part. That's the fake out. That's the ego massager. Yeah. But watch this. Now, that's the negative side aspect of a waking subject. Let's talk about the positive aspect. The positive aspect is when what? When you experience. You hear that? When you experience for yourself what? The waking world, but without attachments and egoistic desires. When you get past stuff, wanting stuff. My old man died with a whole bunch of stuff, toys that only was important to him. Why? Because it was his. He acquired it, but they still just stuff. Filling the ego. When you got ego, you're going to acquire, you have a whole bunch of stuff. A man ain't rich because he have a bunch of possessions. A man is rich when he need less of possessions. That's spirituality. That's right thinking 101. When you experience, again, when you everything is based on your experience. When you experience the joy of understanding what a problem or some subject that you had difficulty with. Perfect example. 30 years ago, I couldn't understand what was in that book. Read it, didn't understand none of it. 10 years ago, I picked it up, breezed right through it. I'm using it as a teaching tool also. Okay, but yeah, what this says is when you get better at doing things you need to do. Where's that? That's the negative aspect. Okay, where we at? Now, into that. Yeah. When you experience the joy of understanding a problem or some subject that you had difficulty with, and then you experience what the level of the intellect, meaning I got smarter. I learned some things over the time, and I'm better at that. This is the positive aspect of what? The dream subject. The negative aspect of the dream subject is what? When the mind is caught in the illusion of thinking that its present situation is an abiding and pressing reality. This too soon shall pass. Good or bad, it's not going to stay the same. In a dream, as in waking life, what the situations which occur does what? Take hold of the person and it seemed compelling and real at the time. However, upon waking up, from the dream situation was found to be unreal, and similarly, when the waking subject goes to sleep, the waking situation is found to be unreal. Is you woke when you woke, or are you woke when you're dreaming? Native Americans said the real dream is the dream state. Just saying. So watch this. Therefore, if there is delusions, that is, if you believe, here you go, that word. If you believe the situation you are caught up in, ignorance and delusion situations, this is the negative aspect. Again, what you believe, what you think, if it's wrong based, it's going to end up in wrong action. You can't get good out of bad. Wrong is going to be wrong till you correct it. If you are rationalizing that what's this, your situations are illusionary, okay, and that you are not caught, up in any of those situations, then what happened? Your intellect is what lucid, getting clarity. You understand what's going on. This is what the positive aspect. When you experience a feeling of joy, this is good. When you experience a feeling of joy for what? No reason that you cannot describe or rationalize. That is what at the level of witnessing the self, which is what beyond the intellect, because you can't explain it. You can't express it. You just experience. That's God in the purest form. You know him for yourself. Sometimes everybody ain't articulate enough or advanced enough to able to express it or explain it. But you know, when you know it, that's all he cares about. Now, when you achieve, watch this, that awareness of infinite peace, aka Hotep, or infinite joy and infinite awareness, etc. You see where I'm going with this? Through what? Through spiritual practice, aka right thinking philosophy. And this level of awareness, or you know there's nihas, or knowing thyself, is what? Is transcendental of all three relative states of consciousness. Now, here we go. My favorite part, taking it home. An enlightened sage experiences what? The transcendental level as well as the relative levels. You experience all three. Then we're in my neighborhood now. However, the sage is never caught up in the delusions caused by what? Ignorance of self. Why? Because he has knowledge of self. And because the sage has what? Discovered and is constantly aware of his or her true identity or self, knowing thyself all times. Just as an ordinary person, remember, sage is not ordinary. So, just as an ordinary person sees himself or herself as a human being with what? A definite history of birth. Okay, you know your birthday. Family and other relations is held and family and other relationships. Watch this. A sage sees that he or she is what? Spiritual beings having human experience, and that the entire universe is what? Their family. If God, the creator, is your father, you claim that, then everything in here is your sister and brother, family, spiritually. I adopt spiritual family all the time. Why? Because if you have consciousness of God and I have it, we can share. If you have no consciousness of God, we might not be on the same page. That's why. So spiritual family are those who are spiritual beings having human experience or living a righteous and virtuous lifestyle. It's a bunch of them going around. But watch this. Sages, what? Do not hold on to fanciful notions or expectations of people. Why? Because they know that the world of human experience is full of uncertainty. I don't want to use the other word, and human limitations. If, as a human being, knowing myself, I know my limitations. I know how far I will go. I have a limit to where I say, oh, I'm done. If you don't know yourself, some of us do things that wonder, why did I do that? Pressure, peer, whatever it is, fear. But you knowing yourself, don't put yourself in that predicament. Moving on. I'm about to wrap it up. Appreciate you. They have already what? The sage have already what? Discovered what is abiding, limitless, eternal, and immortal, pure and true within their own heart, and thus have no desires, no need for any worldly activities, objects of the world, and more important, any personality. Don't want to seem facetious, but I don't need you. Okay, understand that. Thus, a sage what does what? Operates in the world without attachments or hindrance of any kind. I don't split hairs. Don't care, don't care. Simple as that. I'm not attached to none of that emotionally or physically. So there is what? There is the experience of freedom and a sense that nothing is impossible. I can do all things through knowledge of self, which strengthens me. This is the kind of mind which a spiritual aspirant, aka right thinker, needs to develop for him or herself. through the daily teachings and practices, that's what it'll do. And when a spiritual aspirant, aka right thinker, if you're struggling to maintain these ideas, he or she is considered to be a striving stage of spiritual practice. Not right now, not right now. And when a spiritual aspirant, aka right thinker, reaches what? The level where this form of consciousness is what? Spontaneous. It's why? Because you're practicing it, it becomes repetition. Now it's automatic. It becomes muscle memory. It's what you do. And when it becomes spontaneous and without effort, that without effort, they are said to be what? You ready? An enlightened sage. The sage is always in control of what? His ego or her ego personality and uses it to what? Serve him or herself in various ways. I tell you, I use my ego to get me up when I'm tired. That's what I use it for. The three levels of relative consciousness, waking, dream, and sleep, constitutes what? The ego personality of a human being. In this sense, the cosmic ego is composed of who? Amen, Ra Pata, and the real self is who? Panetta, aka or Libertia, or the absolute self. Get to know thyself, and that's how you get to know the absolute self that's in you. Hope the lesson was informative. I'm out.